Hey, welcome to your Leo horoscopes for the first week of October, the 1st through the 7th, our last week of Venus in your sign. Venus hits 28 degrees right at the end of the week, which means this is it. She's moving on next week. And of course, she's going to have some problems before we leave. Of course, we can't possibly not have some problems. I mean, we've already had Venus in a square with Uranus. Now Venus is moving into opposition with Saturn. That creates a T square where all three planets are sort of challenging each other, so to speak. So it is kind of a big difficulty there. Venus's focus is on long-term goals, while Uranus's focus is right on the cusp of those you love and your day-to-day schedule, which might mean that those you love kind of infiltrate that schedule a little bit. And then, of course, we have Saturn, which is focused on the mind in retrograde. And that retrograde sort of mirrors that responsibility for your own stuff back at you in a not so comfortable way, specifically in terms of the responsibility of your thoughts and your thought process. This is a very difficult challenge, I think, for most people to really be aware of and really take responsibility for their mind and how their mind works. A lot of us, specifically those of us that have grown up with trauma or abuse or things like that, really have a negative mental outlook in many ways. Our brains go straight to worrying about things all the time. We're trying to control things, and that's part of where the worry is coming from. In many ways, our brains are even programmed to speak negatively towards ourselves, which is not very productive. I mean, unfortunately, when you have a negative outlook on yourself, the chances of you being productive are not very good. You'll make a lot of excuses why you don't deserve to be productive or you shouldn't be productive, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a pretty big challenge here, to leave, to have right at the end of Venus there a little, in many ways. I think that what really helps to get over the challenge is Venus's sextile with Mars, which is actually a grand sextile as the moon sort of influences it a little bit on Thursday. As a matter of fact, the moon's influence of your relationships, in a trine with Mars, which is focused on your career, and Venus focused on long-term goals and that creativity going towards your long-term goals. It sort of does give you a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel in what can feel like a very difficult situation, if that makes sense. And if you're used to a lot of difficult situations, it does just start to feel like every situation that you get yourself into is just yet another difficult one. But again, this is about taking responsibility of your thought process and how your thought process works. A lot of people have told me it's impossible. I just can't do it. My brain does what it does. It always has. I am walking, breathing, living proof that you absolutely can take control of the way that your brain functions and have it function the way you want it to function. Yes, it takes practice. It takes daily reminding yourself. It takes you pulling yourself out of that space every time you fall back into it, because you are going to fall back into it. It's a pattern that you've had for a really long time, and it's a pattern that's going to take a really long time to break. So basically, this energy comes in on that day, then the moon really helping with that, to sort of give you that little bit of that light at the end of the tunnel, to show you that, yes, this is going to help move you in the right direction, specifically around your career. And Mars energy going to your career, you guys are fire signs. So you need fire signs and fixed signs. Okay, fixed signs are not high energy, but fire signs are. So it's sort of confusing to be a Leo in a way. But that added fire of Mars energy going towards your career and your career choices and your career goals right now is really magic. So the more time you can spend on that, especially your mental focus on that, and the less time you spend your mental focus on anything that is not for your highest good right now, the better. You're definitely going to be more productive in that. We almost had the moon in Leo this week, but we will kick off the week with the moon in Leo next week instead and just have a moon-free week. How about that? So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do click the link in the description and send me a copy. I would very much appreciate the support. If you're listening rather than viewing, that's ko-fi.com/heavy metal psychic. Also check out heavymetalpsychic.com. It's going to be a completely new website in like 2 weeks. So you might as well check out what I got now so you can see how much cooler it's going to be next week. So go check that out. I'm Melissa Bruce, Heavy Metal Psychic, and I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, use that Mars energy wisely. I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with, and I will see you next week. Make it a great one, you guys.